welcome. I'm Shivani Sharma. Once again, we are here with a special story close to the defense forces. We've seen what is the preparedness of the Indian Army along the Ladakh region, but now we have come to the eastern sector, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, and we'll be showing you all the areas in these four core area of responsibility that comes under the Eastern Command, and we are right now at Misamari. That happens to be a very strategic aviation base for the Indian Army. The aviation unit here is deployed, which is a main stage for the provisioning of the logistics of the Indian Army in the eastern sector. And you see the Dhruv helicopters here, the ALH that has been deployed here, which is a part of the Indian Army's aviation sector. I have with me Captain Malik Kanegi, who is a part of this aviation unit in Misamari. We know about these helicopters and the UAVs that are also functioning in this AOR and the drones also. Tell us something about
The UAV has been recently acquired here by Army Aviation. It is an unmanned aircraft. The advantage of drones, as we have seen in our news also in the current times, is its versatility, its state-of-art modern technology, and how well it is, since it's unmanned, so that human risk factor is less, but however the technical skill factor is more on ground. So these are capable of, they have a very high endurance of 3 to 6 to 12 hours. So they can almost get to the border, give you a live camera feed, missions can take place. You can at least know the entire area through an unmanned vehicle.
What you see behind me is the remotely piloted aircraft. It's a kind of UAV that is quite important role to play in the surveillance of the whole area. And this is out from one operation. It's coming back and it will be landing soon here at Misamari Aviation Base, and a lot of assets with the Indian Army's aviation are deployed along the eastern sector, including the ALH, Dhruv, weapon system integrated, the UAVs, and we'll show you more how these are operating, and they are prepared for any kind of situation, and they are well deployed along the Eastern Command region. These are the assets of the Army Aviation Unit here at Misamari. What you see behind me is an unmanned aerial vehicle which is deployed here for perfect surveillance in the eastern sector. And the rugged terrain and the dense forest area requires the unmanned aerial vehicles in Eastern Command sector. And the Army Aviation also has the unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, and it also has the helicopters like Cheetah, the Dhruv, which has been developed indigenously by the HAL, and also the Rudra, which is a weapon system integrated version of ALH. So this black helicopter which you see is Rudra, which has the missile system integrated to it, which is very useful and has been deployed in the eastern sector. I'm joined by Major Karthik Garg, who is the operator of the Heron, that is the backbone of the surveillance along the line of actual control. Major Karthik, a very warm welcome on Republic. I would like to know what is the importance of this particular aircraft?
Ma'am, which you have already conveyed that this is the backbone of the surveillance resources of the Indian Army. Right now, which you can see is Heron Mark 1 aircraft. Heron Mark 1 aircraft gives you the continuous feed of the battlefield up to a distance of 200 km to 250 km, and it flies at an altitude of around 30,000 feet. Imagine that a bird is flying for you and which is giving you a continuous feed of the operations happening on ground. So the commander has got the idea that he has to shift his forces from X location to the Y location.
The Indian Defence Forces are getting Atmanirbhar, and we see this ALH that is the very important asset of the Indian Army's Aviation Corps. And I have with me Major Devesh Katiyar. Major Devesh, a very warm welcome on Republic. I would like to know how this ALH has strengthened the Indian Army's aviation.
I just want to tell this aircraft is indigenously made aircraft which is made in our country. And then after this aircraft, like Army Aviation is a very new army in the Indian Army. So it has raised in 1st of November 2018, 1986. And then after this aircraft has made various versions. The first version is Mark 1 and Mark 2, Mark 3. What you are seeing that side is the Mark 4, which is the weaponized version of this aircraft.
This aircraft, this ALH is empowering the Indian Army with quick mobilization, deployments and logistic support for the Indian Defence Forces who are deployed along the line of actual control. As the tensions escalate between India and China after no major breakthrough was found in the 13th round of talks between both the countries, we have come on ground and we'll show you what is the situation in the eastern sector in Arunachal Pradesh. We'll be going to Tawang, that is 262 kilometers, Tenga 59 kilometers, and we'll also move to Bumla, that is right on the LAC, where we'll see what is the operational preparedness of the Indian Army. As we move towards the line of actual control ahead of Tawang, this is the 0 point or the first pass from Tejpur, from where actually the Tawang, Tenga, they are ahead of this point. And this is a very important pass because this is the first pass from where we'll move towards the line of actual control towards the China border. And the infrastructure, if we talk about, has been the focus of the Indian Army since last few years. The roads, the bridges, the helipads have been exponentially increased in this particular sector. You can see the dense forest area, the rugged terrain. The journey is rough. To improve upon the mobility of the defence forces, be it the men or the equipment, the Indian Army has been focusing on the building up of its infrastructure in this particular area. The Indian Defence Forces in the eastern sector are working aggressively on the infrastructure, and there are 3 major tunnel projects that are undergoing. This one is the Nichipu Tunnel project in the Arunachal Pradesh, that is on the Balipara Tawang road axis. And this 500-meter long tunnel will cut the distance by 6.5 kilometers on this axis, providing a speedy mobilization of the security forces, of the defense forces along the line of actual control. Ma'am, a very warm welcome on Republic. I would like to know the significance of this particular Nichipu tunnel.
Actually, this area is densely fog prone, and that this tunnel will reduce around 7 to 8 kilometers of the stretch. And the length of the tunnel is around 500 to 550 meter approx, and it will save ample amount of time and ample amount of the length which the tourists cover, which our army cover.
Ma'am, this is a very strategic location in terms of mobility of the forces. How they will get enhanced after this tunnel is?
See, we are reducing an ample amount of stretch. Like 10 kilometer in hilly area is very much. We cover this distance in a this is not in plains, this is hilly terrain, and that too during the fog the visibility is also very less, so it will increase the safety of the road and the tourist and our army convoy as well.
How you are enhancing the mobility of the Indian Defence Forces? This particular tunnel and all the other tunnel and bridges projects, they'll enhance and they'll be useful for the quick mobility.
BRO is committed to improve gradient, to make tunnels, to keep roads shorter. So that way we are going to give quicker access to the LOC and faster movement along the LOC.
So this is the Nichipur tunnel that will cut short the distance by 30 minutes and more than 6 kilometers. And more such tunnels are coming up in this whole region to enhance the mobility of not only the defense forces but also the civil population who stays here. The more you sweat in the training, the less you bleed in the war, and that's the motto with which our Indian Army troops get training, and especially in the 5 mountain div where these troops are getting this training for the rock craft. Let's talk to an officer who's in charge of this particular training. Sir, what is this training all about and why is it important in such a terrain?
In our daily operations, we may encounter rock faces, sheer rock faces, we may encounter valleys, we may encounter rivers, and we may need to negotiate them in order to succeed in our mission. Hence, rockcraft training is important to all troops, and because our natural surfaces are not always available and are not accessible to all the troops, hence an artificial rock climbing wall is created so that the troops may be able to practice on a day-to-day basis and keep their skills intact and keep developing them.
So this is how these troops are getting trained to climb the tough mountains in the 5 mountain div. And as a mountain div, there is a lot that is changing in the Indian Defence Forces, and day and night these troops are training to get better each day. The Indian Army is getting technological driven these days, and what you see here is a very special kind of equipment that is quite useful in the battlefield, especially along the line of actual control. I have with me Lance Nayak Rupam Nath, who will tell us what is it all about. Sir, ये बताएगा कि ये क्या है और इसको क्या कहते हैं?
ये जीपीआर पैराशूट कहते हैं, जो कि हम किसी भी अक्रॉस बॉर्डर अगर किसी हम सामान को ड्रॉप करना है, जैसे कि एमिनेशन से लेके जो सामान है जी एक्चुअली अपना जीप से कोई भी सामान, इसका मैक्सिमम वेट 999 केजी इसमें जा सकते हैं.
In the battlefield, information is the most important weapon, and this is the core airspace control system where you can see the surveillance is happening, and this is one of its kind aviation center which is looking after the movements of the drones, not only the enemy drones, but they are also locating and they're careful about the movements and missions of the Indian Army. And to talk more about this, I have with me Colonel Navneet Chell, who's the Deputy Commander of this particular aviation airspace center. Sir, I would like to know about this particular center. What is the major role it's playing?
Ma'am, we are a part of the newly raised Aviation Brigade. This is the core airspace control center in which we are monitoring all the movements of all the users of the airspace, which includes the helicopters, the fighters, the transport planes which fly in the forward area. So in the tactical battle area, whenever the aircraft is flying, we control all the movement from here. Also deciding that which missions are important so that our guns keep firing and the operations keep happening, so we control the same thing from this place.
Team Republic is right now at line of actual control at Bumla in the eastern sector in Arunachal Pradesh, and we are right on the line of actual control. And this has been the area that's been most active in last few months. And what you see behind me is the Chinese territory and the border meeting point where both the countries, the representatives of the countries meet here. I'm here along with my VJ Parvez, who have been traveling with me from Tejpur to Bumla at 15,000 feet above sea level, where the temperatures drip down to minus 25 in winters. We have strong deployments along this region at the line of actual control. The Indian Army has enhanced and intensified its surveillance, deployments, and its combat capabilities in the region. We are at the border meeting point at Bumla where both the sides have been meeting, and this is the Maitri Sthal, and this particular hall is the conference hall where you see the flag of China on the one side and Indian flag on the other side. In this conference hall, since 1990, 90 meetings have already taken place. This year, no border meeting has been held due to the COVID situation and the situation that has been evolving in this particular location at the line of actual control. The flag meetings have been happening in this area, but this is a very important location because here the representatives from both the countries come together and talk.
कोविड से पूर्व यहाँ पर 9 बॉर्डर पर्सनल मीटिंग हुआ करती थी, जिसमें से 5 भारत की तरफ और 4 चाइना की तरफ हुआ करती थी। 5 जो भारत की तरफ हुआ करती थी वो 26 जनवरी रिपब्लिक डे, 14 अप्रैल बैसाखी, 30 मई, क्योंकि 1990 के अंदर इस तारीख को बॉर्डर पर्सनल मीटिंग गुमला में चालू की गई थी। 15 अगस्त इंडिपेंडेंस डे और अंत में दिवाली के दिन भारत की तरफ बॉर्डर पर्सनल मीटिंग को अंजाम दिया जाता है।
Amid the transgressional attempts by China, the whole eastern sector has become quite important and active. We are right now at the line of actual control at Bumla. That has been one of the important flashpoints also in the 1962 wars. And what you see here is the gateway. The gate that you see behind that is the Chinese territory, and on the right side of the gate is India. This is one of the very important locations where Indian Army has ramped up its deployments in terms of weapon systems and surveillance systems, manpower, and all these systems are in place. So the Indian Army is completely ready for the winters. This would be the second winter haul for the Indian Army in this region, with all the medical facilities in place, all the ration, all the provisioning, all the logistics that have been taken care of. And as we've also heard the Eastern Army Commander, Lieutenant General Manoj Pandey, who says that India has a robust system in this sector to deal with any kind of challenge, though we always abide by the bilateral agreements in the region. With Vijay Parvesh, Shivani Sharma reporting for Republic from Line of Actual Control, Bumla in Arunachal Pradesh. So near Bumla, we are at the Assam Hill, which has the height of around 15,500, one of the most highest hills in here in this place. And what we'll be seeing here would be the defensive combat drill, and this is for the physical training, combat capability enhancement of the troops here in the high altitude. We'll see how the troops who have been deployed along the line of actual control take on the challenges when it comes to a defensive war zone along the line of actual control. And this kind of drill is conducted almost every day to maintain the physical fitness, operational capability of the troops who have been deployed in this area. Intense training that takes place in this terrain to make the soldiers combat ready, and they are given this training in this integrated defensive locality where they are doing this plan 190 exercise also, which is done every day. And this is the toughest training that these men, these soldiers undertake in this area. Kill or be killed. You see the slogan behind me, and the Indian Defence Forces are working aggressively to train the troops in this treacherous terrain and to guard the line of actual control. And I have with me Major Aditya, who's going to tell us more about this training. Sir, very warm welcome on Republic TV. I would like to know about Plan 190. What is it?
First of all, thank you for having me. Plan 90 is a regime which has been derived by our formation, in which we go for 40 repetitions of sit-up, push-up and chin-ups, then followed by 20 minutes of aggressive training. And then we have 10 minutes of meditation or yoga session. This complete regime is developed to actually make a soldier, an officer, physically fit and mentally agile and cool at this altitude. Currently you are standing at around 15,000 altitude. Lot of isolation, then weather constraints are there which have a lot of toll on your body. In order to overcome that, we undergo daily regime of Plan 19.
So the Indian Army is prepared in most unimaginable terrain, in most unimaginable conditions where we cannot even stand for a few minutes. These troops are deployed 24 into 7 into 365 to guard the mother India, and this training continues even in minus 25 degrees temperature. Come what may, the troops are ever ready to take any challenge along the line of actual control.
Our defenses are constructed and sited in such a manner that no matter where the enemy attacks from, his attack will be thwarted by us. The integrated defensive battle is not just fought in a company or a battalion level. It is a cohesive and a coordinated battle that's fought employing all arms and services that are available with the armed forces, such as the engineers, the artillery, the Army Air Defense, the Army Aviation with their armed and attack hepters, and even including the aircrafts from the Indian Air Force. Now, I will simulate to you a circumstances when our surveillance resources have just picked up enemy's movement across the LAC and how we respond to it. Furthermore, now we will show you how the anti-tank mobile team DET deploys and engages the tank targets. The tank targets are depicted by the military trucks that you see to your left, the road converging towards us. And there is another military truck in between the fog, which will now go in flames once the anti-tank mobile team engages them. Roger, Tango 3, आप अपनी firing position की तरफ move और anti-tank guided missile से tanks को बर्बाद करोगे. Over. We will now shortly see the deployment of anti-tank mobile team DETs deploying in front of us and engaging the enemy tanks. Anti-tank mobile team DET comprises of the ATGM DET, that is the anti-tank guided missile DET, which is deployed to support them. There is also a rocket launcher DET, which is further to your right. Roger, wait out. Alpha on for Romeo 1, Romeo 1 over. रोमियो 1, दुश्मन की एक टुकड़ी हमारा माइनफील्ड को ब्रीच करने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं. बर्बाद करेंगे रॉकेट लॉन्चर और लाइट मशीन गन डेथ से. मूव.
We are now in an integrated defended locality, which is an underground facility that has been created in case a war breaks out, how the Indian Army will operate and take on to the enemy from this particular location without getting exposed on ground. So here, this is the surveillance which is going on. You can see the radar images which are being received here, and on the basis of this, the whole battle will be fought. These inputs will be shared with all the other components and assets of the Indian Army, including the artillery, and also the Indian Air Force will also be coordinated in this particular integrated defended locality. And we'll see this real-time practice that's going on for this locality at the line of actual control. It's just 2.5 kilometers from line of actual control where we're witnessing all these exercises. Communication is the most lethal weapon in the battlefield, and right now we are seeing a communications bunker here in the integrated defended locality, and I'll talk to Major Ankit about this. Sir, what's going on here? What are you doing? What are you collecting?
Ma'am, as you have already heard that the company commander has been informed that an enemy mechanized column is advancing towards the present location. Now, my task as an artillery rep is to provide firepower to the defenses which are here occupied. I will be communicating with my guns through this enhanced tactical computer. It is a special kind of a computer. It is totally autonomous and totally secured. I will be passing the data which I am observing or which the infantry reps are providing me regarding the location of the enemy to my guns. And accordingly, my guns will fire havoc upon the enemy and cause maximum destruction to them.
So this is the practice in which the coordinated efforts are being made to take on the enemy as he approaches in case a battle breaks out. So our army is totally prepared to take on any challenge across the line of actual control from where we are reporting right now. These are the trenches that have been created in this integrated defended locality for a secure movement of the forces when the firing takes place or when there is a war. We see these are the structures that have been created by the army, and there are several such locations along this AOR at the line of actual control. So the Indian army is prepared for any kind of action, and it has been practicing day and night to remain combat ready in this location. The weather is very ruthless. The weather conditions go beyond minus 25 in winters, and in those times also these soldiers keep practicing, keep exercising to keep themselves operational ready. And while we are comfortable in our homes, these soldiers are toiling and exercising hard and keeping the nation secured from these trenches along the line of actual control. Line of actual control, what we are witnessing right now is the real-time exercise of a combat drill that's happening from this integrated defended locality. We have seen how the targets have been tracked and the communication has been taken over, and now the mortar are being fired upon the enemy and the confirmations are also being taken up. So this is the line of actual control, and just 2 kilometers ahead of this area is the Chinese territory, the ridge line, which is not visible because of the clouds right now, because the weather is packed, is just in front of this particular location at the Assam Hill in Bumla. Now we are witnessing a counter attack by the enemy and how the bunkers are being destroyed, and this is the drill that is taking place here at Assam Hill in Bumla, where we are just right bang on the line of actual control. So this is how our troops keep practicing so that they are operationally ready for any kind of challenge, and these are the real-time situations that are created to keep control of any kind of situation that might arise at the time of battle or any attack from the enemy. So this is how the troops are training in despite this weather. At the line of actual control, the Indian Army has enhanced its deployments. We see the RT guns here that are exercising. These are the drills which are being conducted. These are the Bofors guns which have been the heroes of the Kargil war, and they have a range of over 40 kilometers, and at the line of actual control there is adequate deployment of these Bofors guns, and also the ultra light howitzer M777 guns that have been inducted in 2018 into the Indian Army, and this has been the newest induction with the K9 Vajras, and these long range guns have a capability to destroy the enemy across the line of actual control, and these are enhancing the might of Indian Army in this particular region. As we are in Tawang, seeing the preparedness of the Indian Army along the eastern sector, what you see behind me is the L-70 gun. That is the major weapon of the air defense in the sector. This is the upgraded version of the L-70 air defense gun that happens to be the most important and significant weapon to counter all contemporary air threats, including the drones, the fighter jets, and whatever comes into the low range of this particular L-70. The ranges are considerably high and they can shoot any threat in the sky. Like you see, what's flying here is a drone and it can counter the drones, and all such deployments along the line of actual control have been strengthening the combat capabilities of the Indian Army in the sector, and these guns have been upgraded indigenously to strengthen the fighter capabilities and air defense capabilities of the Indian Army. As the Indian Army has intensified its surveillance units across the line of actual control in the eastern sector, you see behind me a radar system that is tracking any kind of activity in the skies, and it is sending signals to all the assets of the Indian Army that have been deployed in the eastern sector. We are very close to the line of actual control in the eastern command near Tawang, and these systems have been deployed. They have been increased in numbers because the Indian Army now focuses to be a technologically driven force rather than being a man-driven force. And here we are at a height of around 13,000 feet, and these systems have been deployed to support the artillery and the Indian Army's other units that are deployed here. So any movement in the skies can be tracked by these radar systems so that the sovereignty of the Indian territory is maintained and any kind of threat in the sky can be countered timely. As we are just 2 kilometers behind the line of actual control at Bumla, this is Subedar Joginder Singh Paramveer Chakra Memorial at 15,000 feet above sea level. The temperature right now is 5 degrees, and in the coming months it will go up to minus 15 degrees. Subedar Joginder Singh was the warrior of the 1962 Indo-China War, and he fought and sacrificed his life till the last bullet, and 21 other men along with him sacrificed their life for the honor of the country. And this war memorial at this height inspires the whole nation, and it also reminds the sacrifice of our fallen heroes. In our journey to the line of actual control and the eastern sector, we are now at world's second largest monastery, the Tawang Monastery, and it also happens to be India's largest monastery, only after Potala II in Tibet, Lhasa. And this monastery has a lot of mythological and historical importance in India, as it was established by Merak Lamba in the 16th century, and thereafter it has been the epicenter of Buddhist culture, Buddhist teachings and spiritual learnings of Buddha in northeast area, and this has been the attraction of the whole world. At this particular point of time, there are around 500 disciples of all age who attain teachings of Buddhism and Tibetology in this particular Tawang monastery. It has a lot of religious importance, and in fact, Tawang is one of the bone of contentions why China has issues and has been claiming Arunachal Pradesh as its part. And India has a beautiful history as it celebrates the Tawang monastery as its integral part. We are in the biggest monastery of India, the Tawang monastery that was founded in the 16th century by Mirak Lama. And this also happens to be the second largest monastery in the world. The Buddhist disciples have been visiting this monastery and they have been getting their teachings of the Tibetan culture, Buddhist religion. And in this monastery, we've seen that around 400 to 500 lamas have been taking their teachings of Buddhism. This is at a height of 9,000 feet in Tawang, Arunachal Pradesh, that is close to the borders of China and Bhutan. This also happens to be, if we talk about Tawang, this happens to be the center of Tibetan culture, and the 6th Dalai Lama was also born here. And it's believed that China has strong claims over Arunachal Pradesh and Tawang because this monastery happens to be the most sacred, the most historical, and most significant monasteries and centers of Tibetan and Buddhist culture. Biggest and most historically significant Tawang monastery in Arunachal Pradesh, Tawang, and I have with me Thuptan Shastri, who will tell us more about the significance. So what is the holy significance of Tawang?
Tawang Monastery is, in our world, and you can say that in our Asia, this is the second largest Buddhist monastery in 1680, in the 17th century.
And it's believed that this has been the epicenter of the Buddhist culture, the Tibetan culture in this whole area. Please tell us more.
Yes, of course, yes. This is in the whole Tawang area, this is the biggest monastery, and this is the head of the Buddhist monastery in our monasteries.
We are at the Tawang War Memorial in Tawang that reminds us of the valor of the immortal heroes of 1962 war. This war memorial was created in the memory and as an inspiration for the nation, and these unsung heroes of India defended the frontiers of the motherland, braving enemies' gunfire and freezing cold in the desolate high mountains of Kameng Frontier Division in the year 1962. And these soldiers, they fought till the very end to defend the integrity of Mother India in 1962. And since then, in last 60 decades, a lot has changed along the line of actual control. The Indian Army has fortified its borders with multiple defensive grids, the surveillance machines, and also the aggressive and offensive defense techniques that it has been practicing along the line of actual control. 1962 war reminds us how the heroes of the nation have been serving the motherland above everything else. They have been supremely sacrificing their lives for the country, and this Tawang War Memorial is a salute to all those fallen heroes of Mother India. With Vijay Parvez, Shivani Sharma reporting for Republic from Tawang War Memorial.